What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update. The clock is still ticking down on the transfer window. Just over a week left to go. We've got some outgoings and some incoming rumours to talk about. And let's start off with the outgoings. Let's start off with Japhet Tanganga. As Damasio saying that AC Milan will push Tottenham to agree a loan deal with an option to buy for defender Japhet Tanganga. Calcio Mercato saying Tanganga to Milan is not far away as talks have accelerated. And Charlie Eccleshare says something a bit different as he said Nottingham Forest are interested in signing Japhet Tanganga. Forest understood to be exploring a permanent deal. Spurs have been holding out for a fee of 20 million euros this summer for Japhet Tanganga. How do you see this one playing out now?
Yeah, I think we would probably rather give to Forest if they're going for a permanent deal of about 16.8 million. I think that's been the hold up. So I can understand if Forest are coming in with a permanent, then I definitely think Spurs are going to be more willing to deal with that. And also from Tanganga's point of view, obviously Milan is a massive opportunity, but also being in the Premier League for a team like Nottingham Forest also might be seen as a good opportunity for him as well. So if I was him, I'll probably... The thing is, if he goes to Milan, he could find himself in a similar situation that he is now, although it's unlikely he could. Whereas at Forest, he's more likely to probably get into the team and start playing regular first-team football. So I kind of hope he goes to Forest, but it looks like one way or another he will be out the door, and then that means we should bring another one in.
Yeah. In terms of my thinking behind it, I think he would... probably favour the Milan move. I mean, to go to a club like Milan, he would have looked at players like Fikayo Tomori who have gone there and really made a name for themselves, and he'll back himself to do that. I think probably like a move like a Forest or a lower end in the Premier League will still be there probably next season if he doesn't pull up any trees at Milan. So I think he would probably want to go test the waters at Milan, and if it doesn't work out there, then assess the situation from there probably.
Yeah, potentially. But I just think from Tottenham's point of view, we'd rather the money, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. I mean, from Tottenham's point of view, I think it's a no-brainer. Obviously, Forest is the best option for us.
Not necessarily. If we think Tanganga still has a future here, maybe we could loan him.
I just don't think they do. I mean, we're pushing for them to put an option in, potentially even an obligation. So I don't think there is too much of a future for Japhet here at Spurs while Conte's here anyway.
That's what it looks like. So let's hope we can get any deal. Look, either way, it doesn't really make too much of a difference as long as we get him out and we can bring in another centre-back. Although all the stories are not about centre-back so far, so maybe I hope we have people lined up if he is to leave.
Let's talk about Bryan Hill now. Dan Kilpatrick, well, we actually brought you the news about Bryan Hill yesterday as a move is imminent to Valencia, but Dan Kilpatrick also brought us this news yesterday, and he says Tottenham are reluctant to allow Bryan Hill to return to Valencia alone before they have lined up a replacement, which will not be straightforward. We've got a list of replacements that we're going to run through in a bit, but I guess this is good news in a way.
Yeah, because I think at the moment, Bryan Hill isn't ready to make a proper impact in the first team, and so if we can sign a forward who's going to be a better option for rotation when Champions League games come and being in the Premier League, then that is better for us. And as well, Hill is going out on loan, then he can come back a better player and maybe more ready to contribute if he comes back, or if not, he can maybe get some money for him later down the line. So it is, I think, is a good move in the sense of if we're looking to challenge seriously, then this is a good move for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think it will happen one way or another, and I do believe that we will get a replacement, and there are some names to get through. And first one is not strange to you anymore, as we've been speaking about it pretty much every Tottenham update for the past week or so. That's Ruslan Malinowski of Atalanta, and reports from Ukrainian journalists are saying that Antonio Conte is the main person pursuing and hopes to bring Malinowski to Spurs as he suits the system. Malinowski also wants to come to London. However, Tottenham are having problems meeting Atalanta's demands, whilst Marseille allegedly have already met them, which is interesting. I mean, I don't know why we can't stump Marseille in terms of valuations and stuff like that. But Sky Sports Lyle's saying that Malinowski is a player Tottenham have looked into signing on loan, but the Italian club are only willing to sell him permanently. Tottenham are reluctant to commit to a transfer fee and long-term contracts to players who are over or approaching 30 years old. So there's your answer.
Yeah, that's been our policy for a long time, isn't it? About players who are over 30. Obviously, we broke that with Perisic, but obviously there's no transfer fee involved, even though he's on a fairly decent wage, and that was probably to appease Conte for more than anything. But I can't see us doing it too many times, and that's probably why we're being very careful when it comes to someone like Malinowski. Well, we don't want to have too many players at the moment going over the age of 30 if we're not fully believed in their long-term future. So I can understand why they only want a loan from that point of view. But for me, if it's a fairly cheap deal, under 20 million or so, then I think it makes sense. I think the outlay will be worth it, and especially in this current market where there's crazy fees being banded about for a lot of players. I think Malinowski for a small fee like that, 15 to 20 million, makes sense. If it is over that, then that is something that we'll have to think about. But maybe it's one of those where if he's still around in a few days' time and we haven't got any other options, we go for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I've said many a time, I'd like to see this deal push through, but I can understand if it doesn't, because he is 29 and all the reasons that we've just spoken about pretty much. So we'll have to see how this one plays out, but I would like to see him through the door.
But don't get me wrong, if we sell Gil and then we bulk at Malinowski because of his age, that would annoy me.
Yeah, agreed. Let's move on and talk about some other options. First one being Dan James. Ali Gold says that Fabio Paratici does like Dan James, but there's not much more to it than that at the moment. Tottenham have considered the Leeds winger as one of the many potential options to replace Bryan Gil, but have not advanced any interest at this stage. Would you like to see a Dan James come in?
I don't know why Paratici likes him. It's very odd. I've not seen anything in Dan James, really, even since he's joined Leeds, to suggest that he could be a very good option for us. I don't know. He loves his speedsters, doesn't he, Paratici? He loves James. He loves Adama Traore. He likes Saint-Maximin. He likes his players, doesn't he? So I don't know. Maybe he's got something with. Maybe he played too much FIFA. He's just obsessed with speed. It's incredible. But Dan James,
speed.
I don't know. Yeah, to be fair to him, he has had a decent start to the season, but I think he lacks technical ability. He's now 24 years of age, so he's not like an up-and-coming youngster. He's now a fully fledged Premier League player, and I don't think he offers enough going forward. And I think he showed that at United to suggest that he can really make a difference for us. Look, I think if he came in, could he have some good games? I think he could. I think he's obviously, because of his pace, he caused defenders problems. But I think we'll start to get frustrated with him after a few months. And I don't know, especially as well, I don't know how much they signed him for, but they'll probably want at least double what they signed him for if we're coming in for him. So you're probably looking at like a 30 million outlay or something. I don't know. It doesn't seem worth it to me.
For me, I don't like Dan James at all. I mean, I don't mind him, but I think he's much better in terms of like a Leeds player or that stage of the table than coming to Tottenham and being potentially a top 4 player. I don't think he's a top 4 player. I think he showed that at Man United, although maybe the circumstances were completely right there at Man United. I just think that a player at his stage of his career should be staying at Leeds, because if he comes to Tottenham, he won't get anywhere near the game time he's getting at Leeds, let's be honest.
That's absolutely true.
So I think it's one to stay away from, in my opinion. Let's move on. Let's talk about Anthony Gordon, another player that we have spoken about quite a bit during this transfer window. Ali Gold says that Tottenham do hold a firm interest in Anthony Gordon, and Paratici is also a big admirer of Alain Saint-Maximin and Adama Traore, amongst others. Peter O'Rourke is saying that Tottenham are ready to make a late move to rival Chelsea for Everton attacker Anthony Gordon. Out of the Adama, Saint-Maximin and Anthony Gordon, I mean, who would be your favourite option? I'm guessing Saint-Maximin, right?
Well, it could be recency bias because he just had a great game, but I do think he's the best out of the lot at the moment. But I mean, all those options, none of them really inspire me. Although when you look at those options, if you tell me they're all going to be 5th choice, I mean, it's not terrible for a 5th choice as well. So there's pros and cons. When it comes to Gordon, I mean, Chelsea are about to potentially agreeing a deal of 50 million plus 10 million in add-ons for Anthony Gordon. I think that's a way overpayment. I wouldn't go anywhere near that price if I was Tottenham. I wouldn't even consider rivaling him, because I think that's a crazy price for someone. Like this is what I was talking about when I said I don't think necessarily Richarlison deal is that overpriced when you look at the market, because when you're looking at these kind of deals, we got Richarlison for the same price. In what world has Gordon shown the same amount as Richarlison has shown. And I don't see a world where that is. So how are they the same price? I got no idea. So I don't see this one.
The only way I can see them looking at them for asking for that price is because obviously he's younger. He's got the whole future ahead of him. And he's also an Everton boy, born and bred and through the academy there. So that he's always going to be worth that a bit more to Everton. That's literally the only way I can see.
Not that much. Not the same as it's like saying a young academy product is the same price as your best player just because he's an academy product.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with the price. I'm just saying that's probably the way they're looking at it.
I think it's madness. I think if Everton reject it, they're crazy. I think they should really accept it. But then again, the only reason I would reject it is because it's so late in the window, and you have to scramble around replacing a player that you've built your season around pretty much.
The fact of the matter is, when you're looking at Everton right now, he's their main man.
Yeah.
And if you get rid of your main man with a week to go of the window, it's going to be a struggle for them to get someone better in.
Right, but if they can't spend money, because which is what I've heard. I've heard they've got money problems. So they need to sell another player before they buy, which is a bit odd because they got 60 million for Richarlison, but whatever. But if that is the case, I probably would sell and probably bank my luck and getting some more players in that could contribute more. Because I don't know. Look, 60 million for Gordon, I think is too good to turn down, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe they think he's going to be a world beater, but I just don't know if he's got that quality. I think they're putting too much pressure on his shoulders.
How much do you reckon he should be valued at?
30 million.
30 million. Yeah, I think that's fair. All right, let's move on and let's talk about another Leeds player actually, in Jack Harrison. Sky Sports Lyle saying that Harrison is another one on Tottenham's summer wish list, but Leeds are thought to value him even higher than 60 million. Higher than 60 million for Jack Harrison.
Also crazy. I do think he's better than Gordon, but I think it's also 60 million for Harrison is nuts in this market. It's crazy. It must be English tax and all that kind of stuff on top of that. Again, this is what I'm saying. When we paid 60 million for Richarlison, it's not bad price when you look at these prices being banded about. And I do, to be fair, I do like Harrison actually, and he started the season really strongly, and I think he could really explode this season. I've got a feeling he's going to come into his own now that Rafinha has gone, more pressure on him, and I think he might thrive under that pressure. But 60 million is crazy talk. I don't think Spurs should. I don't think we can go. I mean, I know we need one, and I agree, but I think I would be more than happy getting a less proven player for half the money than getting someone like Harrison for 60. I mean, obviously I would be happy with getting Harrison, but I can understand why we wouldn't go near him for that price. As much as I like him.
With the amount of money that we've got, I mean, all this 150 million, we've only chewed into like 60 million of it. I don't understand why we can't be pushing the boat out from now until the end of the window to get a proper quality player in.
We can, but why push the boat out for Harrison?
Yeah, I get that, but it doesn't look like we're pushing the boat out for serious players with the players that we're linked with. We're talking about Harrison, Gordon, Dan James, these kind of level of players. Why are we not going for someone on the upper echelons?
Because we have a very good front three, and we just spent 60 million on Richarlison. So
yeah, but it's irrelevant when we paid 60 million on Richarlison when we've got all this money, when we got 150 million and we got a net spend of 60 million. Why are we not spending that money?
Don't know.
Just annoys me a little bit.
Who says we're not?
Well, we'll see, won't we? There's over a week left of the window, but with the players that we've been linked with, I'll be surprised if we buy like a proper top player for like 60, 70 million now.
Up front, I don't think that's all we need. I don't think. I mean, obviously, it'd be nice, but I don't think that's completely necessary.
Even at centre back, I've been seeing reports saying we're looking for a younger centre back to come in instead of like a proven top quality centre back. And when if we put a bid in for 60, 70 million for Milan Skriniar, I think that's a deal that can be done. I don't understand why
PSG can't get over the line. How can we?
PSG won't go above 50 million. So if we've got the money and we can put in a bid of 60, 70 million, why is that not a deal that can be done?
No, I agree. I think it should be done. I mean, that's the deal I'd like to be done, but I don't know. Those aren't questions I have answers to right now.
We'll get the answers. Last but not least, we're going to talk about Wilfried Zaha now. This is from Sky Sports Lion. He says, Tottenham do not appear interested in making a move for Zaha this window, as he does fall under the category of being reluctant to commit transfer fees and long-term contracts to players approaching 30 years old.
Yeah, and again, I would like Zaha through the door. He does have 1 year left on his deal, so maybe it's something that if we maybe could get a favourable deal from Palace, but again, he's on big wages there, 150 grand a week or something like that, because he signed a big deal 4 years ago or so. So he probably would command big wages if he was to come, and he is turning 30 in November. So from that point of view, do we want a massive outlay on a player who's turning 30? Maybe not, but in terms of quality, for me, I think he would be fantastic for our front three. Look, would I rather spend 60 million on him or on Harrison, or 40 million on Zaha? It's a good question.
I'd probably take 40 million on Zaha, to be fair. I think he started the season on fire. Last season, he had a good season again. And he provides every year, doesn't he? He's Palace's main man, and he really drives them forward, got a good mentality. And imagine Richarlison and Zaha in the same squad and team. The shithousery we would commit on that pitch would be unbelievable.
Yeah, and he could really do a great job in all three positions as well, his one-on-one ability as well. And I think that's one thing I think we do miss a bit in our front three. I think our front three are very good, but that real world-class dribbling ability, I don't think... I mean, Kulusevski's very good at dribbling, but I think no one's a real elite dribbler like Zaha is, and that could really add something. I don't think he's an elite dribbler, no.
No?
I think he's a good dribbler. I don't think he's an elite dribbler. Not on the level of Zaha.
Yeah. All right, well, that is it for your Tottenham update today. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any thoughts regarding any of the news stories we brought to you today. Out of the attacking options that we have mentioned, who would you like to see us bring in? Let me know in the comment section below. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.